evening, Patriots, and welcome to the Q Lounge Live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Shannon Townsend, aka Shady Groove. Welcome to you to the MG Show channel on Rumble. We are on Facebook, Twitter. We are on X, Facebook. We are also streaming to you live 5 now. Last week we had a little bit of an interruption. We apologize greatly for that. I hope everything is looking good out there right now. But it doesn't hurt us one bit for these things to happen to us, because what happens is our resolve just becomes stronger. We stand up firmer, we stand up taller, and we push forward harder. That's exactly what it is that our president is doing, and that's exactly what it is that I would recommend for all of you to do in your real lives. We are here to empower you to make better decisions, to understand that the world around you is not the world that they present to you. It's very, very different, and there are things that you would benefit by knowing that other people don't want you to know. That's what we're going to be discussing here tonight. Thank you so much. Welcome to our living room. This is an amazing place for everyone to be here. We are back, Q Lounge Live, for season 5, as we unlock the process by which we take down the system that is controlling us. And one of the ways that we take down the system that is controlling us is we get access to better information. When we get access to better information is we utilize it. Remember, wisdom is utilizing the information that you have to, or implementing the information that you have to better serve you. It's very interesting in America, because I want you to understand something. The globalists have twisted it around backwards. They think that you as the American people are supposed to be serving them, okay? That is inverted. You are an American. You are to be served, and you need to start thinking about yourself that way, because we have taken a back seat to our power and to our strength. And one of the things that I think that Q was so amazing at was to show you how the people are the ones with the power, not the establishment are the ones with the power. I see Design Frog out here, Poussant, Sherry, hey, Effectual Insurrection, hello, how are you doing tonight, guys? Monsters in here, Rev Rob, thank you so much with the contribution already. This world is being engineered to your detriment. What you could do inside of America, what we could do together, is we can engineer the world to our benefit. And we've lived basically our whole lives to the detriment of a hand that we can't see that's strangling you, and you don't understand how it's strangling you. All you know is that you can't breathe. And so what it is that we've been doing for the last 8 years here is we've been following along with the Q drops. Okay, the Q drops inspired this show. The Q drops are inspired me. The Q drops keep becoming more and more relevant as we move forward. That is exactly what it was that we thought Q was. That's exactly what it was that we thought Q was, and now we're seeing it every single day. And what is being unlocked now. And it's interesting that we kind of got pushed back a little bit from last week. We were going to do this show last week, but a number of things have happened during the week this week that sort of blend right in with what it is that we're going to be talking about here tonight, and understanding that it isn't a conspiracy theory to take care of yourself, okay? It's not a conspiracy theory to think, oh, if something if you feel like something may be harmful for you and you don't want to consume it or eat it anymore, that's not it's very interesting how that becomes something that other people kind of mock you over, isn't it? Whenever you notice that whenever you try to do something, you try to be the change that you believe in. Whenever you do that, people rush right into the conversation to tell you, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that, or you're not allowed to talk about that, or you're not allowed to see that, or you're not allowed to be that, or you're not allowed to say that. And we've been watching this go on, and this is a phenomena that did not really, for the most part, didn't exist in America before Donald Trump. And so you've got to ask yourself a very, very serious question. Why? Why are they so triggered by what Donald Trump is doing? And what is it about this moment in time that has given us the ability to be so strong? Because what it is that we're actually doing is, whenever the meme where Donald Trump is holding up the spine, there's a meme and he's holding up the spine. He say, you see this? I'm trying to put this back into Democrats. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to put the spine back into the people of this country so that they can make better decisions, so that they can navigate their lives more effectively and not hit so many speed bumps or hurdles. Because really, at the end of the day, all of the stuff that they're throwing at you is a hurdle. It's a hurdle to trip you up and to make you think, oh, I'm not valuable. I'm not worthy. I don't have enough. All these different things. If you repeat this stuff in your head enough, and Poussin will tell you, words matter. Words mean something. It's a spell. You're generating a spell over yourself, and you're crippling your ability to manage your way out of it. Nothing happens overnight. Things that are good don't happen in 10 seconds. Things that are good happen over time, and they happen because of the decisions that you've made. I am currently proud to announce today is August 11th. I am 6 days away from it being 2 years since I've had any tobacco. Okay. I was not a person that smoked regular cigarettes. I rolled my own cigarettes. I sourced my own organic tobacco from the source, all this nonsense that I would do to try to justify what I was doing. But I'm 2 years having quit smoking, and I could not feel better. And I'm so excited to share with all of you guys tonight the journey that you can have. You can have a journey from any single moment. And I want you to understand this. You can have a different journey from any single moment. The moment moves. You decide. This is what it really means to manage the temple. The moment that you decide, things change. It's your decision that the universe is waiting on. It's your decision to change and to be better and to do something different. That it's waiting for the call. It's waiting for the question. It's waiting for you to stand up and to say, I want to value myself in this way, and I'm going to take time to value myself in this way. I don't care that there's not enough time in the day. I don't care that all the people are telling me that I'm not valuable. I don't care that I'm constantly telling myself this is impossible. Switch that. Switch it. It's honest to God. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as just switching your mentality toward yourself. You know, I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains, and I grew up in the holler. And, it's kind of funny because everybody around me, whenever I was growing up, the last thing that they ever thought about was themselves. That was just the way it was. Everybody was so involved in helping other people that they never took care of themselves. That's on one hand a very good thing, but on the other hand, it's not a very good thing. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to be talking about, first off, we're going to go into some of the things that Q pointed out during the COVID nonsense. And then we're going to move on into some of the history about why you're in this situation that you're in. And then we're going to move into a lot, and I mean a lot of things that you can do for yourself. And you can remove some of the blinders of this thing of like, oh, I don't understand fenben. I don't understand ivermectin. I don't understand these alternative processes. That's fine. All you have to do is be willing to understand. And if you're willing to understand, I'm going to give you a number of different resources where you can educate yourself and maybe educate the people around you because this is one thing that I've noticed. You don't want to make decisions about what it is you're going to be doing with yourself unless you are completely understanding why. In other words, you don't just like this whole fad thing, like, oh, I just jump on a fad. Oh, I'm going to get the carnivore diet or this diet or that diet or all these different things. The reason those things don't work aren't because the process doesn't work. It's because the commitment to the process isn't working. You're not sticking yourself to the commitment of the process. And what I mean by that is, think about it like this. Think about how they stick you with the disease. If you go into your doctor and your doctor tells you, oh, you've got da-da-da-da, you've got this, you've got that, so immediately what you do is you personalize it. It's like, oh my goodness, that's mine. It becomes like a middle name. You want to wear it like a badge of courage. Oh, look, I've got this disease. Look at me. And then you want to talk to people about it like in the first person, like I've got this, I've got that. You're claiming it. You're claiming it. No one is saying that there's not something going on with you. Okay. But what they're telling you effectively is that you are stuck in a situation with this, and we're going to start treating the symptoms. What if you could treat the principle? What if you could treat the cause of the situation, and they won't tell you that you could treat the cause? And I believe that that's a big part of what Q was explaining to us and what Q was saying in Q's different posts. And you're going to see some of them here tonight, talking to you about, do cures actually already exist? Well, do they? Are cures being suppressed? Well, are they? Are these different things that are coming out now that now within the last 5 years, only within the last 5 years especially, there's been enough room to talk about this. Because of the COVID thing that they did, they generated a conversation that they never wanted any of us to have. They generated a conversation about vaccinations, and they generated a conversation about taking better care of yourself and not consuming the different things that are poisoning you. And these things are poisoning you, by the way. The environment that you're living in, these things are poisoning you. The monosodium glutamate, the fluoride, all these different things. But that's not like the end all be all. You can get better from it. You can heal yourself from it. Your body is an unbelievable machine. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it doesn't work like an unbelievable machine whenever it's dysfunctional or whenever it has issues going on. But whenever it is functional, it works like a perfectly well-oiled machine. And that's exactly what I wish for all of you out there to take a little bit of time. My request to all of you is to take a little bit of time for yourself. I understand that you have children. I understand that you have parents. I understand that you have all these different things that you're taking care of, and you're doing an amazing job. But the one thing that I think that you're not taking care of enough is yourself. And at the end of the day, there is literally not another human being on this earth, not your children, not your spouse, not your parents, that are going to advocate for you to take care of yourself. And especially if they see that you're not taking care of yourself, it's a slippery slope. So inspiration starts inside, and that inspiration can move outwardly whenever you make different decisions. There's so many people out there that have been diagnosed with something that was, oh my God, the sky's falling. It's going to be the worst thing ever. And then they understand that there's some alternative things that they can do. Maybe it doesn't cure it, but it does alleviate it in a way to where it isn't a systemic issue within the system. The system being, your body. That all being said, I'd like to again thank everybody for joining us tonight. That's a little review of what we're going to be doing. And before we jump into any of that, I want to share with you one of the most exciting things that I think I've seen in a long time, and that is MG Radio. Okay, if you guys have not gotten over here to our app.mg.show and downloaded the app and then gone in to see MG Radio, then I don't know what to tell you, but we have here literally listener supported music coming to you 24/7 that you guys created, over 150 songs that are in here right now. And there is also a chat where you can go in and speak live to whoever's in there listening. Maybe Eddie Mike might be there. Maybe In the Matrix might be there. Shady Groove might be in there sometimes. But always what's happening is that patriotic music is playing, which is like one of the greatest things you could ever imagine. I mean, my goodness, guys. I mean, the amount of patriotic music that's coming out of this channel. Thank God bless each and every one of you. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Salty, good morning, Salty. Good morning. Where are you at out there in the ether? And Cat Father, $20, crime against humanity. Absolutely a crime against humanity. 100% a crime against humanity. Along with inviting you over to the MG Show app, which has all of our donation links. You can see right there with the app. You are live. We are live right now with you. Hello, everybody out there. And you have our Rumble links. Everybody, you can get to anything that you need from this one hub, because it seems like the deep state really likes to scramble the code. They like to tuck the links away, make it hard for you to find stuff and different things whenever we're talking about the MG Show environment. And also, while I'm doing the shameless plug of app.mg.show, we are also wanting to invite you over to the MG Show Substack, where we're doing a weekly review of all of the different shows and giving you an opportunity to go back and review with extended descriptions, so you can maybe reorient yourself with understanding like what we talked about, when we talked about, trying to give you some more data at your fingertips. And always resources, by the way, are coming along with all of these different shows that we're doing. Here in the description below, you'll be able to find all the stuff that we talk about tonight is going to be available for you to dig into. We're going to be going through a number of links, obviously, and a number of Twitter posts that have information on some of these alternative therapies, and have an overview of understanding how we got here is important. And, from a personal standpoint, my mom passed away a little over 2.5 years ago. And my mom believed every single thing that the establishment told her. Like there was not one thing that they would tell her that these people that wear the white coats, they're like preachers to some people. I know that sounds weird, but they really are like some sort of religion to some people. They see the white coat and their mind glazes over and all critical thinking goes right out the window. And we saw this, I moved out here on the West Coast, and it's very interesting to see this. When I moved out here in 2015, there's a large population out here of, quote unquote counterculture people who assimilate with the, anti-America rhetoric type stuff. And they were always very, very skeptical of vaccinations until COVID. And then whenever COVID happened, they became militant for the vaccination. They became the most scared people out of everyone. The people that had a strong belief in God, the people that had Jesus in their heart, the people that understood the world around them, didn't exhibit fear like that. There was a reason that they exhibited fear. In other words, what it was that they were proclaiming to the world, with their screaming and yelling about anything, didn't have any merit because they didn't have any information. They were just going along with the fad of being opposed to vaccinations. I'm going to be the I'm going to be the loudest advocate against a vaccination, but I'm not going to be a loud advocate against every vaccination in every situation. That's not exactly the way it works. The reality is vaccinations for adults is, in my opinion, junk science. Vaccinations for children are not necessarily the same type of junk science, even though they are junk science, but the volume of the vaccinations for the children is a very, very big issue. So yesterday we had RFK Jr. and Donald Trump in the Oval Office with an executive order being signed where we're getting to they're very dead set and determined to get to the bottom of this whole thing that's going on with autism. And this is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a little prediction right now. What's going to happen is we've seen these numbers throughout our whole lives of autism go up astronomically in the last 35 years. Like, how crazy is that? The last thing in the world that the system wants. Remember the system can't function against you if they have things to compare it to. So the system wants to work as like this big single behemoth that moves around. It moves across. It's like a big behemoth, and everybody agrees with it. But now that's been splintered. And people now understand a whole nother aspect of what it means to get a vaccination, and a whole nother understanding of what it means when you're getting all of these vaccinations at one time. Okay, so interestingly enough, I don't have the clip here, but I'm just going to summarize it real quick. But during the executive order signing yesterday, one of the reporters asked Donald Trump directly about the vaccination status of his children. And it was actually a very compelling moment where he interacted with he wasn't offended at all by the reporter's questions. He interacted directly with them, and he explained to them that it's too much. He's like, it's like a whole can of fluid, and you're putting this whole can of fluid in this tiny little baby. And so what we did is that we split up the vaccination schedule. We took each of our children. He said this like he was the one in the car taking Don Jr. or Ivanka down for the vaccination. That we took them in and we had 5 different schedules, 5 different appointments to do all of the vaccination schedules for my children. It was interesting because you didn't hear this whole flub nonsense craziness from the reporters, because I think they were astonished at what he said there, because that makes sense to anybody that is trying to make sense out of what is going on here, to recognize, okay, well, maybe the vaccines are okay, but we're not going to be putting all of this stuff into my child in one fell swoop. To give you a sense of the sheeple attitude in the state of Oregon during COVID, whenever they got that vaccination authorization done, which was an emergency authorization, by the way, I've never seen anything like this. If I were a parent, I would have a hard enough time taking my child in to have a shot inside the health department or inside a doctor's office. What they did out here was crazy. They set up easy up tents. I'm not joking. In the parking lot of the not conference center, but whatever you want to call it, the civic center, massive parking lot. They set up easy ups, and they told people to come down. And parents were driving through with their children in the car seat in the minivan, guys. Like it was backed up, round, backed up, like all the way to the interstate over there near the fairgrounds. I saw it with my own eyes. That mindset right there, there's something wrong in the system whenever people have that much trust for the people that are wearing the white coats. So effectively, what I think that Q has done and what Donald Trump has done is we've broken that system down a little bit. No, we didn't shatter it, but we definitely broke some of the edges off of it so that people are a little bit less likely to take in all of this stuff, and maybe a little bit more skeptical about how it is the process and the procedure to immunize children and to think about your health whenever you're raising a family, because at the beginning of raising a family is the most important time. And the establishment understands that. And I think that you can all tell that, isn't it interesting? Is it interesting to notice that all of the 20-some million people they let come across the border, nobody cared about a vaccination status? And then they tell you, oh, these people have to be integrated in your school, and they're in the school with your child, or they're not vaccinated. But your child isn't allowed to show up to school unvaccinated. Oh, but this person is poor and downtrodden, and so therefore they don't qualify. That's not how it works. It doesn't, like the vaccination thing only works if everybody is vaccinated. If you have like 20 to 40% of the people that aren't, then you're going to be introducing the contaminant into the control every single time. It makes absolutely no sense. You're effectively eliminating the need, or you're eliminating the need for the vaccine entirely. But we're not going to be talking about like all vaccines or whatever tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff with cures. And do cures actually exist? Vaccinations are not cures. I want everyone to understand that. A vaccination is not a cure. It's not a prevention. It possibly is a preventative, but more times than not, it makes a situation maybe mild instead of severe, but almost never makes the situation completely eliminated. I would thank you guys all for being here again, and please get over there and sign up for the Substacks. Get the MG Radio. We might be popping in all different times. Thank you to Eddie Mike, by the way, for building this amazing new project. This is just really, we're moving so fast in the MG show environment to try to get over this craziness about the censorship. Okay, they're still out there trying to shut us down and trying to make sure that we don't talk, or that you guys don't hear us, or you don't see Q or understand anything about what it really is. So like always, we're going to dig in a little bit to some of the stuff that Q was pointing out. Q made a number of posts about HCQ, and Q made a few posts about cure or the cures. And so we want to investigate a little bit to start with. Start there. How did Q make HCQ relevant? And you can see here that what we're talking about in some of these posts is the rhetoric that was going on around, and I don't think the posts that people have made aren't going to be here, but you'll see. At Team Cavuto said it will kill you. Talking about HCQ. Why are select journalists so invested with instilling fear regarding HCQ? 40 years on the market? Now, I'm focusing on HCQ to begin with for a very specific reason. 40 years on the market isn't quite accurate, and you're going to see what that means in a second. It's actually much, much older than 40 years on the market. So you're going to see what is real compared to what the establishment told you is real. Is this about the health and well-being of people or something else? Is this about the virus or something else? That post was 5/21/2020. Notice the times up here on these posts. We're going to talk about, all this stuff regarding COVID came out in real time during the event, when it was happening. Hey, Sherry, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you guys do. I hope that you find benefit in this conversation. God bless you. Here we have post from Q stating specifically, origin country of COVID-19, China. Notice the date, May 9, 2020, okay? Oh, this is going to be cut off at the bottom. What's going on with that? Weird. It's okay. Origin country of COVID-19, Wuhan. How long was Wuhan on lockdown? 76 days. How long was the remainder of China on lockdown? CNY extended January 24th to February 9, about 16 days. How long has the U.S. been on lockdown? No spread of COVID-19 outside of Wuhan? How is it possible that the source country of the virus, minus Wuhan, was on lockdown for only 16 days? How long has the U.S. been on lockdown? Forecasted lockdown for California, New York, Oregon, and Michigan? Reconcile logical thinking. Q. Oh, don't go that far. Oh, it's hanging up. Hang on. That page has gotten screwed up on me, guys. Hang on just a second. See if I can refresh it. There we go. All right. So then Q's responding to that post saying hydroxychloroquine was used in Shanghai as the first line of treatment. Okay, HCQ being talked about right there as a first line of treatment on 5/19/2020. USA lockdown versus China lockdown, non-Wuhan days. Mainstream media Dems vested interest in censoring and attacking anything regarding HCQ. Why? See that? That's what Q is not saying anything that is impossible to decode there. It's very one-to-one. You can clearly read what Q is saying, and the accuracy of what Q is saying can be vetted very simply. Then here we have, this is 5/19. This is all right around, this is on the same day. POTUS daily ingest of HCQ prevent COVID-19. Pre-announcement fools sources data COVID-1 versus COVID-2 analysis, etc. provided to factually challenge a narrative. Full-on attack versus HCQ by media and the Dems. And it wasn't just the Dems, guys. It was everybody was in full attack mode against anything that anybody said that didn't have on a white coat. Why wouldn't the media and the Dems want to work on all fronts to find a possible solution? Immediate dismissal. In other words, they dismissed it without even acknowledging or proving that it didn't work. Why does the media Dems want the pandemic to rearrange Dem panic to slowly stop or to slow or stop? Why doesn't the media, the Dems, want society to heal or recover? Why doesn't the media, the Dems, want people to no longer fear going outside? Why doesn't the media and the Dems want people to point the finger at China as the source? Why doesn't the media and Dems want people to return to work in their normal daily lives? Who benefits the most? Why does corporate media and the Dems attempt to control us? Why does the corporate media Dems challenge attack anyone who defies pushed coordinated narratives? Why does corporate media Dems attempt to prevent individual critical thinking public? Is this about the virus or is it about something else? Everything is at stake this election. Imagine what would have happened, guys. Imagine what would have happened had Trump not been the president when this occurred. Mikey, $17. It's so awesome. The show is back. Q, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mikey. I'm really glad that you're doing well out there, man. I've been praying a lot for you. It's awesome. And by the way, man, you're rocking out with Shady Groove and The Matrix might be coming up. So hold tight. Maybe might see that today. Woo, boy. Tell you what, Mikey really knocked it out of the park with that one. All of your songs knock it out of the park. Post 4137, Russia using HCQ to treat COVID-19. Source of HCQ, China. China using HCQ to treat COVID-19? The more you know. I want you to see this. I want you to see why this might click here in a minute whenever we dig into where we're going with this. I just want you to notice Russia approves unproven malaria drug to treat coronavirus. Interesting that Q would post right to that article. No? Very, very interesting that Q would show you that. Then here we have in this graphic, you can clearly see all of the BS that was being spread around by the people with the white coats. I don't have an issue with people with white coats if they don't lie to me. But the idea that they're flat out, bald face, unapologetically lying through their gnarly teeth is a little bit too much to take. And we knew in real time that they were lying through their teeth because of, common sense. All you got to do is have a little bit of common sense whenever you see some of this stuff that I got up there on the screen now. Let me zoom in on some of this so that you can see. For people out there, we're showing all of the different propagandized news clips here saying more deaths or and no benefit for HCQ. All of it is just it's all rhetoric. Nothing will work. Why were they doing that? Whenever they knew that wasn't true, we had hundreds of doctors that were using HCQ to alleviate the symptoms of COVID in real time. They were trying to announce it, and instead of listening to anything they say, they censored their content. Why? Why the need to censor us? Why the need to this is not censoring lunatic fringe conspiracy theorists. This is censoring certified medical practitioners across the world. It wasn't just going on in America. We were seeing what was going on in America at the time, but it was going on around the world. And during that moment, I was just standing back and in absolute amazement and awestruck of not only the length that they're willing to go to lie, but the length that people are willing to go to suspend your connections to reality, to suspend that so you could believe this. I saw it happen over and over again. I saw it happen to my own mother. All of these people that just believed the rhetoric, this stuff that I was just showing you right there. So the people that believe, see, you're a little different. You're already skeptical of this before any of this happened. 90% of you are completely skeptical of this before any of this happened. People that weren't skeptical of this reacted completely differently. They were glued to their televisions. Like my mother was glued to the television every single morning, waiting for the morning news to come on so to tell her how she should be afraid today. And these articles and these different things is what they were putting in front of her. So whenever I said to her, I need you to start taking HCQ and maybe consider taking a break or slowing down on running forward with the 40th booster shot. Maybe do something that you can control. Maybe do something that will actually help. Obviously, that was all ignored, and that's okay. It is what it is. Because I know that I did my dead level best to try to show her something else. Q was doing their best in real time to show us something else. It's one of the amazing things about Q. You know, these people that are attacking, we talked about them a couple of times, people are trying to say that Q was Bannon and Epstein and all this absolute nonsense. They're trying to take away from what really happened. They're trying to demoralize, diminish, and push you aside. And you are the strongest group of patriots this country has ever seen. The guys like you, Effectual, hey, bud, been killing it and suing all the homeopaths since the 60s to shoot. Yep, was in sassafras was in root beer prescription. MDMA, chemicals instead of natural, and coca in Coca-Cola. We're going to be talking about Coca-Cola here in just a second. Actually, you're going to It's interesting that you mentioned that. That's going to connect tonight. Effectual. Interesting comment there. But I don't want you to believe everything that I say. I don't want you to believe everything that anybody says. I want you to listen to what's being said, and I want you to make your own decisions and do your own discernment. But I also want you to have tools at your disposal so that you see the whole game board. It's not a myopic, it's not a one topic issue. It encompasses our whole lives. It encompasses the way that we think about our health, the way that the establishment has talked to you about what it is that you are, the way that they treat, the way that they act like every single human that walks into a doctor's office can be treated similarly to the last human that walked in there, regardless of their blood type, their DNA, their history, their genealogy. That's nonsense. That's medicine of the past. That medicine is going away. That medicine is fraudulent. It's not real. It's there to deteriorate your perspective about yourself, and it's also there to sell you a fake bill of goods that will never serve you. No matter what illness that you have, perpetuating it and making it worse on yourself by imprisoning your human form inside of it won't serve you. No matter what it is, if you take a good attitude and a can-do approach to it, it won't be as bad as you think it will be, or as bad as they tell you that it is. That's the lie. That's the psyop. That's the misdirection. That's detrimental. Here was the article that Q was pointing out. Oh yeah, that was the one that wasn't there. I couldn't remember. I knew there was one that wasn't there. So whenever you see that, you see there, Q mentioned about HCQ. That's a little run on HCQ. We're going to come back to some more of the specifics on HCQ here in just a minute. The next thing we're going to move into a couple of the posts here that talked about cures, or actually that talk about a cure. And here we have the Fox News media article about disappointment by the partisan attacks leveled at the president. Trump says the media is on its head against hydroxychloroquine. Q says on 4/9/2020, this was about a month before the post that we just read, difficult to imagine media D party attempting to squash all hope of a cure. Difficult to imagine media Democrat Party wanting public to remain in fear regarding COVID-19 up until the election. Difficult to imagine the media D party willing to sacrifice lives in order to regain power. Enemy of the people. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Now, right there in that post, is that a difficult truth? You watched that happen. You watched them ignore things that were beneficial on purpose so that they could perpetuate control. The people that said that you were a conspiracy theorist, that said all this, they talked down their nose to you your whole life. In that moment, that's exactly 100% what they did. There was an alternative. You could see there was clearly an alternative. It was being presented at the level of, it was being presented in a environment where everybody could hear it and everybody did hear it. But what were they doing? They were doing something different. They weren't talking about how you could utilize it to help yourself. They were completely ignoring it, and then they railroaded Joe Rogan over ivermectin and a couple of other people that they cornered and acted like that they were complete imbeciles. And Donald Trump is the same way about taking the HCQ, saying that it had absolutely no effect whatsoever. But if all of those different things were true, then why did Anthony Fauci end up on the Hill a week or two ago with pleading the fifth 111 times? If all of those things that those people told us in that moment were true, then why is he not able to articulate how dumb we are? Remember, he's the guy in the lab coat. He's the guy that said he's the science. You're the idiot out here that doesn't know anything. So why is the guy that told me, the science, if it's science, guys, if it's science, there's an equation. If there's an equation, there's math. If there's math, the math's been done. If the math has been done, then there's a solution to the equation. If there's a solution to the equation, it should be X, and X should be easy to discern, and you should be able to stand up and speak it proudly into any microphone that anyone wants to give you because you're proud of your work. Dr. Fauci proud of his work? Or is he ashamed of something? Does Dr. Fauci stand on his credentials of science? Or is Dr. Fauci afraid that states are going to pursue him for his crime of lying to the American people over and over? It wasn't just one thing he lied about. He lied about all kinds of things. He first came out and said that there was no need for a mask. Then he came out and said wear 30 masks within a 3-month period. Over and over again with this guy. And you're going to see. Remember, we've been talking about the Jesuit order. We've been talking about like their connections to secret societies. And we're talking about secret societies that are working in tandem with one another to take down America. Well, guess what America is? It's called We the People. So you're not talking about taking down the country, are you? You're talking about taking down each individual. You're talking about taking away the resolve of the individual. You're talking about taking something away from the human being. And what you're taking away is their ability to come to a conclusion, because only thing you've done is inserted bad information into a conversation. Everything is bad information. Everything is bad information. As you proclaim to be the science, and then you go out there and you take the Fifth Amendment 111 times. Even whenever Senator Hawley was asking him about the color of the carpet, he wouldn't answer the question. And there's a ritual behind that as well. The ritual of not speaking. It's about as ancient as some of this other stuff that we're going to be talking about here tonight. So Q, we're going to some of the posts that we're talking about the cures. Here in this one, here it was talking about it has to be done right. We the people are the cure. Talking about the rule of law and the deep state process. But effectively, this is relevant to all of these people. This is relevant to you and who you are. It must be done right. It must be done according to the rule of law. It must carry weight. It must be proven in the court of law. How many times have we read this post on the MG show? There can be no mistakes. Good things sometimes take time. Attempts to slow block the inevitable, justice will fail. We the people are the cure. You can see there. Then here again, you see this at the very bottom, talking about again. I do not recall. These people deserve to ... These people are sick. We are the cure. What does that mean when they say we are the cure? That means we, the people, have to stand up and proclaim what we know to be true. Talking about Bill Maher, here again, you see, we, the people, are the cure. Look at that. These people are sick. You people are a disease. We, the people, are the cure. And here in this post we read not that long ago, symbolism will be their downfall, money, power, influence. This is what they've been protecting. This is what they were protecting. Right here, we're going to prove it. We're going to prove that this is what they were protecting by not telling you about HCQ. Stay tuned. What if cures already exist? What about the billions, public, private, government, provided to fund the cure and develop it? Sheep. These people are sick. Meaning, they would hide it, meaning that they're willing to hide the cure from you, meaning that there is something out there in the system that is an antidote to everything that they're subjecting you to. What if cures already exist? What if the cures existed before the disease? What if it was created in a lab? What if a certain segment of the population had access to the antidote? What if a certain entity known as Q was trying to share with you what the antidote was, and that was a very, very bad situation for the deep state? Do you think, as you're listening to me right now, here we are, 2026, do you think that we would be here right now had Q not revealed some of those things? I'm just telling you, like all the stuff that I just read to you there from Q came from Q. Nobody out there before that post about Wuhan understood that this came from Wuhan. Nobody understood that this was getting ready to be perpetuated, like that it was from a wet market. Nobody understood that they were the articles of impeachment landed in the House the same day, or in the Senate the same day that the first case of COVID-19 was declared in America. Was it about the virus or the election? What we're here to explain to you is a new world began whenever the old world died. The old world died circa 2020. I know we dealt with Joe Biden for 4 years, but the old world died circa 2020. The reason that the old world died is because the narrative died. Before COVID-19, 80% of this country were on the same page, and they didn't look away from the television. They didn't question anything. They didn't go against anything that their doctor said. They completely believed a huge amount of those people were conservatives. They believed everything that they were told. That was 6 years ago. You're living in a different world today. You're living in a different country today. You're living in a country today where there is an amount of skepticism that exists within the dynamic of the silent majority, or within the heart and soul of the silent majority, that did not exist in 2016. It didn't exist in 2010. It didn't exist in 2000, and it sure as hell didn't exist in 1995. We, Gen X, are the ones that have the ability. Number one, we are the ones that took it way too easy on those kids out there, and you were way too soft on them, and you tried to be their friends and do all this stuff. Well, guess what that gets you? That gets you purple hair. You sent them into the meat grinder of the mental fortress called a college, but you sent them in there without having a good heaping helping of America in their back pocket. You sent them in there without having anything in their back pocket. That's why they came out a purple-headed liberal who's willing to, sacrifice anything on the altar of somebody's better than an American. Got an illegal, they're better than an American. Got a criminal, they're better than an American. No matter who the person is, in the minds of these people, they're better than any of you darn Americans. There's something wrong with you, not the person that has the mental confusion going on. You know, the meme where the guy's dressed up. He's got the pride patches. He's got the Antifa. He's got everything on him. The other dude's standing right there beside him. He's looking back saying, oh, they radicalized me. Did they? You've been radicalized, people. Your friends, your family have been radicalized by a system of thugs that wear white coats. And the system of thugs that wear white coats was generated in the footprint of what would be known as homeopathy way back in the turn of the century in the 1900s, or taking care of yourself, all these different remedies and things that people could verifiably prove that are in nature that can help things that are going on with humans were eliminated. And what they did was they engineered a whole slew of synthetics. And those synthetics are exactly what every single product that you are taking currently are made of. Every single synthetic is made of petroleum. All synthetic vitamin C, at the core of it, it's petroleum. All of it. If it says synthetic, at the core of it is petroleum. It's not a joke. The reality is they can't actually patent things that exist in nature, so that's why they've made the synthetic. It has no connection to nature. That's why your body kind of rejects it, and it doesn't really help you because you're taking all these vitamins. You're taking these vitamins. You're taking a bunch of petroleum. You think it's vitamins. It's across the board. It's top to bottom. It's up to you to decide, okay, this is what I put into my mouth every day. This is what I put into my body. I can make a different choice. It does matter. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did to me when I was young. I'm not sure. I can't point to the moment in school where it happened. And I'm not sure. Maybe I'm the only one that is having this experience. But until I was like 19 or 20 years old, I didn't have a correlation that what I ate had to do with how I felt. I mean, I was an alcoholic for like 3 years before I even turned 21. So there was a couple of years there that I don't even remember eating anything. But I do understand that I do remember that I didn't have any understanding like, oh, well, if I eat this, then it has this effect on me. So I started a long, long time ago with my wife, our relationship in the very beginning, we started trying to do the right thing by ourselves and eliminating some of these things that were toxic in our environment. And we've built our whole lives around trying to avoid them. And it's not easy, okay? It's not easy. Oreos are very convenient. Going into the gas station and buying the Coca-Cola is very convenient. All these different things, they make them convenient for a reason. The sugar that you're drinking in the drink makes you feel not hungry, so you don't eat. So you have no nutrition. So your brain isn't functioning properly because you didn't eat enough nutrition that day because you just drank a soda instead. I'm not here, like I said, I'm not here to come down on anybody. I'm here to provide a breadth of information that I'm hoping that somebody out there can do something with. Really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to strengthen our army. We have an army of digital keyboard warriors, and we need to make sure that we're giving them as much information as possible. And that's what I wanted to do here on the Q Lounge, not just with facts and figures about but also with actual sauce to what we're doing. I think this was CURE on this one. There. For some reason that moved on me, guys. I'm not sure. That screen's not working. So, summing up, talking about HCQ, talking about Q. What was Q doing? What was Q trying to show us? How do we understand the world around us? What does it mean? I want to play this. How long is this one? This is 2 minutes. Yep, perfect. All right, right here we got this coming into you right now.
And AIDS is really going through those populations, and it's really doing a number of blacks, Hispanics, and homosexuals.
That theory has made news. I've heard that before, and it's been debunked very clear by the public saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous." But you're saying that that may indeed be the case.
It's not ridiculous. I actually saw this in documents. The project name was Project Naomi. MK Naomi was the name of it. It was a CIA project. The AIDS, whatever causes AIDS, whatever that turns out to be, according to those documents, was developed at Fort Detrick, Maryland, under a CIA project called MK Naomi. It was financed by $10 million for the Department of the Army's biological warfare programs. It was carried out, supervised by the CIA, carried out by scientists who worked for the Special Operations Division of the Department of Defense. It's doing its job.
Disease. I'll get to in some of the latest slides how.
I want you to see. Do you know who that is? You guys know who that is right there?
It's doing its job.
Disease. I'll get to in some of the latest slides how this disease, which we surmised early on, started off in the male homosexual population in this country. Not that there was anything intrinsically different or wrong or what have you about homosexuality. It was very simple. It's straightforward epidemiology. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population in which the spread among those individuals, if it's sexual contact spread, it's a perfect setup to spread. In any event, what we had was a concentration of cases, as you'll see here, in the New York metropolitan area, New York City and New Jersey, and in Los Angeles. Take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population.
Did he stutter? You seeing how your world is possibly engineered and not just happenstance? You understanding why they call you a conspiracy theory whenever you make connections? It was also actually what I was trying to do was to show you in the Q post about HIV, and for some reason or I think it was AIDS. There were a couple of posts about it, and it didn't come up. Yeah, it was talking about the disease here. Let's see what we got. Cancer and it makes, okay, here you go. Make sure the list of resignations remains updated. Important. When does Big Pharma make money? curing or containing cancer, AIDS, etc. Is cancer similar to HIV? Mine would be blown by chain of command. And then there were a couple other, the one about the AIDS video with Obama that really isn't necessarily relevant to this, but there was one other one. Here it is, 252. This is 12/4/2017. This is the one I wanted to show you before we go to a little break. Red Cross is corrupt and used as a piggy bank. Future topic. Oh, future topic, huh? Interesting. I'm glad Steve Bannon and Epstein are keeping us updated. Diseases created by families in power. Population control plus pharma equals billions. Think AIDS. Future topic. Relevant. Fly, Ross, fly. Why would you post that? And then there was also the one other one. Before we go, it was I got the search got all screwed up here, so it's like I gotta scroll on this to find it real quick. I want you to see this one. Sorry, sucks. Here it is. Here you go. Money, power, control. Here it's talking about it's 1009. Was it 1010? Yeah, 1010. Down here at the bottom of 1010, it says massive extinction events designed to decrease threat level of population, gun control, wars, fake, top, happy, back end deals, election rigging, control. Your voice does not matter. Pharma, class D. Water, air, chemicals pushed for home use, cleaning, cancer, baby on floor, hands in mouth, the start. Vaccines, not all. Tobacco, opioids, ultimate win, death and money, the Fed, Rothschilds, conspiracy. Choice is yours. Revelations. Enough is enough, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to take a quick break here. I'd like to present to you The Proof is in the Pudding Eddie Mike video that's going to come at you right now for about a few minutes, an interlude, taking a break, and we're going to come right back, and then we're going to dive deep into what is the source of this information and what it is that you can do about it. Thank you for all your support, and thank you for being here and your generous contributions to the effort of the MG Show and the Q Lounge Live. We'll be back in just a minute.
Yeah. 8 years deep and the fire's still good. Started with a mic and a hope where we stood. Trying to wake the people, trying to tell the truth. Trying to pass the country to the ones coming through, yeah. They said keep it quiet, they said don't say that loud. But the ones on the wall never back down now. Through the censorship, through the smears, through the flood. Still standing right here in the proofs in the blood. Q was never changed, Q was never a code. Q was asking questions till the lies would hold. Think for yourself, see what's true. That was always the mission, that was always the move. The proof is in the pudding, the truth is in the run. 8 years on the wall, and we're still not done. Where we go once, we go all. Through the rise and the fall. If you stay through the silence, then you heard the call. The proof is in the pudding. You can see what it's become. What they tried to bury kept beating like a drum. The proof is in the pudding. He said this ain't a sermon and it ain't TV. It's not what they told you that it had to be. Not the spin, not the script, not the headlines pushed, but the things they didn't want touch still got pushed. They tried to call it danger, tried to call it hate, tried to say the people here had all lost faith. But the room kept building and the heart stayed warm, and the ones they mocked kept biting through the storm. No, what made you stay? No, what made you see? You looked into the question and it set you free. Think for yourself, hold the line. Truth for freedom every time. The proof is in the pudding. The truth is in the run. 8 years on the wall, and we're still not done. Where we go up, we go all. Through the rise and the fall. If you stay through the silence, then you heard the call. The proof is in the pudding. pudding. The ones you were waiting for were standing in the mirror. The daylight moment hit, and the whole thing got clear. Not follow me blindly, not bow to a name, but learn how to see and never think the same. On the wall, through it all, say the things they don't want said at all. Just stand up proud, say it plain. Truth is worth a little pressure and pain. The proof is in the pudding. Oh yeah, the truth is in the run. Oh, 8 years on the wall, and we're still not done. Where we go one, we go all, through the rise and the fall, and the ones that stay the course, still standing tall. The proof is in the pudding. Now the picture's coming through. All those old questions, pointing straight at truth. The proof is in the pudding. 8 years later, still here, still out. Still truth for freedom. Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. A little bit of a break there to the proof is in the pudding. And no, it is not rice pudding. Somebody said I don't want to know rice pudding either. Thank you so much. So what is the proof? What are we talking about? Whenever we say, okay, that we understand these different things, we need a little bit of ammunition in our pocket, don't we? We need to be able to understand, and we need to point people to things that we say so that we don't say things that we can't defend, and we don't say things that are make ourselves look like we don't know what we're talking about. That's the last thing you want to do. As a matter of fact, the reason that I ended up being able to talk about this stuff the way that I talk about it is because I did exactly that. A long, long time ago, I tried to take all the stuff that I had crammed into my head, and I started trying to explain it to people, and it did not go well. As a matter of fact, it went actually pretty terribly because I was arguing the wrong points. It wasn't that I was wrong. It was that I was getting caught up arguing the wrong points and letting other people that were skeptics guide the conversation as opposed to explain to them what is going on and maintain control of a conversation. You've got to be able to maintain control of a conversation. And by what that means is keeping your mind tethered to the point. Because what they want to do is they want to like distract you. They want to like run over here. They want to say this, and they trigger you by saying that, and they trigger you by saying this. And the next thing you know, you're like arguing about elephants. And whenever you were trying to talk to this person about their daily diet, okay, like it really will get that far off track that fast, because the last thing in the world a lot of people want to talk about is what it is that they're doing wrong to themselves or to their family. So whenever you say, oh, well, we just read that where the establishment told us that HCQ started 40 years ago within your current established medical studies, that we didn't know anything about HCQ until circa 1980 or something. I wonder if that's true. Well, we're going to dig into some of it. And people, you guys that have been here with us for like 8 years know all about this, but I have yet to categorize and articulate this on a Q Lounge Live, and so that's why we're bringing it in here now. And I saw that someone did put in the link to the Q Lounge where I did MK Ultra, Project Naomi, and Paperclip, the whole outline on that show that I did a couple of years ago, which is really, really good. If you're interested in that, that link was put in the chat there. So let's jump over to the old Wikipedia and see what it is that they say, because I'm sure that you're not going to find this stuff just laying around on the surface. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. Jesuit. What is that? Jesuit. Why would you call something Jesuit's bark? What? Interesting. No? 40 years. Remember, we've known about HCQ for just 40 years. Isn't that interesting? Oh, look at this. They got little notes on this for some reason. Jesuit's bark, also known as cinchona bark, Peruvian bark, or China bark, is a former remedy for malaria. As the bark contains quinine used to treat the disease. I thought you couldn't treat disease with natural things. Thought you needed synthetics. Thought you needed vaccinations. I thought you needed things that come from laboratories. Petroleum, no. The bark of several species of the genus Cinchona family, or cinchona, I'm not sure exactly, you can say it however you want to, are the indigenous Western Andes of South America, were introduced to Jesuit missionaries during the 17th century as a traditional treatment for malaria by the indigenous people in Peru. HCQ is quinine. History of the cinchona bark dates back more than 350 years, circa 1650. This is written down, okay? This is not like I'm not making this up. Sebastian Beto declared that the bark had proved more precious to mankind than all the gold and silver that the Spaniards had obtained from South America. Did you see what 3 seconds of reading shows you? In the 18th century, the Italian professor of medicine, Bernardo Ramazzani, what the hell ever that is, said that the introduction of the Peruvian bark would be the same importance to medicine that the discovery of gunpowder was to the art of war. An opinion endorsed by the contemporary writers on the history of medicine, the value of Jesuit's bark and the controversy surrounding it were both recognized by Benjamin Franklin. Oh, wait, Benjamin Franklin? Didn't we just celebrate? We just celebrated 250 years of our country, and Benjamin Franklin was talking about quinine, or HCQ, during the founding of the country, and we've only figured it out in the last 40 years. Who wittily commented upon it in his Poor Richard's Almanac for October of 1749, before the Revolutionary War, telling the story of Robert Talbot's use of the cure for the French dauphin. Hugh Algernon Waddell observed, few subjects in the natural history have excited general interest in the higher degree than cinchona. None, perhaps, have hereto merited the attention of a greater number of distinguished men. Dissension, however, was rife at the time, mainly due to its source of discovery, the Jesuits. Alexander von Humboldt said, it almost goes without saying that among Protestant physicians, hatred of the Jesuits and the religious intolerance lie at the bottom of the long conflict over good or harm affected by this Peruvian bark. The Spanish Jesuit missionaries in Peru were taught the healing power of the bark by natives between 1620 and 1630, when a Jesuit at Loxa was indebted to its use for his cure from an attack of malaria. It was used at the recommendation of the Jesuits in 1630. That guy right there is a Jesuit. And this guy right here was warning you about them. It's not a joke. What Q was doing was explaining to you this psychological, these crazy ass people, and what it is that they're willing to do. Whenever we talk about sacrifice, it's not exactly what you think. They're sacrificing. It's a little bit more complicated than exactly what it is you think. Okay, so now we're getting ready to go. Now we got a lot to get done in a short amount of time. Here we go. What do we have here? Who made the deal to start the CDC? Joseph W. Mountain, recognized as the founder of the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention of the CDC on July 1, 1946, led the transition of a wartime agency called Malaria Control. Are we connecting the dots yet? Malaria Control. What is going on here? Is this the beginning after Operation Paperclip, after Operation Naomi, after all of that in 1946? This is right as it's happening. They're setting up the CDC the moment they bring these scientists over here from Germany. This is not a joke. This is not shady coming up with crazy conspiracy theories or nonsensical things that don't connect. However, the specific deal that secured the CDC's permanent home and future was brokered by none other than Robert W. Woodruff, the influential leader of the Coca-Cola Company. Ha! It initially operated out of a single floor of an office building in downtown Atlanta. Wishing to keep the federal agency in Atlanta rather than losing it to D.C., Woodruff stepped in. Emory University owned prime real estate in Atlanta. The deal in 1947, Woodruff brokered an agreement where Emory transferred 15 acres of land on Clifton Road in Atlanta to the federal government. The CDC made a symbolic token payment of $10. Have you seen the CDC compound? This is the CDC compound in Atlanta. Right here. All of this, well more than 15 acres. Now, this is your CDC in Atlanta that started right here for $10 by the leader of the Coca-Cola company in 1947. Have we talked about the bloodline families? Have we talked about the control? Have we talked about the Jesuit order? Have we talked about the secret societies? Is there a connection to the secret societies, the Jesuit order, and your health and your information? Yes or no? Your decision to make. I can't tell you what decision to make. If you don't see a connection, then you don't see a connection. But some people do, including me. I see a big connection here. I see a mammoth size connection here to what is ailing you, to AIDS, to Lyme disease, to all of these other deteriorating diseases that have been interjected into the human populations for, wait for it, do I need to hold up a cue card? You've heard it your entire life. What could it be? I don't know. Maybe the overpopulation psyop? That's how you've been sidelined as an American. They make these stats. Oh, this American, he uses X amount more than anybody else in the world. Let's put him back in the box and shut him up. Stop comparing me to foreign nations that steal everything from their people and leave their people to live in squalor and acting like I should do less because they do. Get out of here with that nonsense. People are losing your minds out there. So now let's jump over. Okay, so let's say, okay, well, what was the original charter for the CDC? Why did it start? When the agency opened its doors in July 1 of 1946, the original charter was simply to prevent malaria from spreading across the nation. Would you have needed a CDC had you told people about cinchona bark? They've built something that they already knew what the cure was. Q wasn't prophetic in explaining to you what if cures are known. Q understood that the cures are known. And whenever we started looking into this stuff 6 or 7 years ago, this is what we found. These are the connections. This is why you have Lyme disease. This is why you have COVID-19. This is why you have HIV. None of this stuff is normal. And the reason that you know that is because people that have microscopes can look at it. You don't necessarily have the ability to see what they can see. But what they see is they see the tampering. They see the genetic code has been manipulated. Whenever they talk to you about gain of function, what they're meaning there is they're taking out parts of DNA and they're putting in different parts and they're making it an organism. At its founding, the U.S. Public Health was named, or Public Health Service was named the Communicable Disease Center. Just think about that. It's a communicable disease center to spread the communicable diseases and hide the cure. Established as the direct successor to the wartime program called the Malaria Control in War Areas, which had worked to limit mosquito-borne illness around military bases in southeastern U.S. So you think that right now with what Bill Gates is doing with releasing all these mosquitoes is a way to get rid of the other mosquitoes? What they're telling you is absolutely insanity. It's freaking insane. So here you go. There's some history of that. That's the truth. That's where the CDC started. This is where the CDC is, just so you can see, and we'll peel this out. Good. That's Atlanta right there. Not making it up. It's inside the Beltway. CDC, 15 acres, $10. Imagine what that property is worth now. Look at the control that they have over the American people with that little tiny piece of property. Just 15 acres, engineers a whole century's worth of lies and distortion. From people wearing white coats. Well, what do you know? You know, the same ingredients. It's HCQ. HCQ is a purely synthetic, man-made medication that does not have a single root or natural ingredient. It cannot be extracted from plants made from home by boiling citrus rinds. However, looking at its historical roots and chemical building blocks, the information breaks down as follows. The historical root, cinchona bark quinine, owes its structural design to quinine, HCQ, a natural compound extracted from the bark of the cinchona tree. Even Google wants to throw this little BS thing in there. The idea that how can the synthetic of something work, but the root of it doesn't? Explain to me that like I'm 2 years old, Beavis. Please. I'm really interested in knowing your thoughts on that. Give me a break. Robert W. Woodruff was an American businessman who served as the president of the Coca-Cola Company from 1923 until 1955 with a large net worth. He was also a major philanthropist, and many educational and cultural landmarks in the U.S. city of Atlanta bear his name, including among these are the Woodruff Arts Center, the Woodruff Park, and the Robert W. Woodruff Library. Woodruff was born in Columbus, Georgia, the son of Ernest Woodruff. Wait, Ernest. Oh, Ernest. Have you heard that name before? An Atlanta businessman who, among other things, was the leader of the group of investors who bought the Coca-Cola Company from Asa Griggs Candler of 1919. His grandfather was Atlanta manufacturing magnate Robert Winship. Early life of said Ernest Woodruff, father of said Robert Woodruff, with his brother-in-law Joel Woodruff, founded the Atlanta and Edgewood Street Railroad. Say it ain't so. Which ran its first electric trolleys in April of 1889. Woodruff followed Hurt as the president of the Trust Company in 1904 and held his post for 18 years before becoming the chairman of the board. Not a joke, guys. The bank's most direct corporate parent was established in 1891 in Atlanta. Still there today. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Little history lesson for you all to get your mind understanding. Like I said, you're only as good as the amount of information that you have. We are etching these things on stone tablets effectively by talking about this stuff in the modern era to explain the dynamic of what it is that's controlling you, what it is that's hurting you, and how it is that you are going to defeat it in the long run. You can defeat it. You can be better. We can stand up to this all together, but we can't if we don't understand what it is that we are standing up against.
Around the same time that John D. Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information.
What if cures already exist? What if cures existed before this? What if this is what you just saw, that little video, a little over a minute video. That is the beginning of what you now know as the American Medical Association, the AMA. 100% of that structure is predicated on the idea of every single human being is the same. We can treat all of you the same. Synthetics work. Sugar is fine. The food pyramid before RFK and Donald Trump just fixed it was completely inverted, and these people said it was fine. It's fine to eat 30 grams of sugar in a soft drink every 20 minutes. It's fine to inundate your system with poison, literal rat poison, every single day. It's fine. You're going to be able to filter it out. There's no issue. It has absolutely nothing to do with the reason you're sick, bloated, tired, irritated, frustrated, or just flat out can't do anything. Which is how they want you. That's why they're mad at people like me. That's why they're mad at the MG show. That's why they're mad at what it is we're doing here, because we're trying to arm you with information that benefits you, not makes the situation worse. And so here, this part of the show, we're going to be going into solutions, real world solutions. Don't listen to me. Let's listen to some other people. Let's listen to some other people talk. I don't currently have any type of thing that I'm dealing with like this, but if I did, I guarantee you that you would not find me in the medical establishment. I'm pretty confident I'm just going to ride it out. Whatever I can't take care of on my own. In this moment. Hopefully the future of AI, and I honestly do believe, by the way, I'm not a doom and gloomer. I do believe that the future in AI is going to change all of this. I believe that the medical establishment is going to change. I think that, the idea that we have doctors that are concerned with the little floozy on the side or the weekend things or whatever it is that they're doing as they show up hungover on Monday morning to operate on you. I think that's a thing of the past. And I think that we should be very considerate of understanding that doctors are human beings and surgeons are human beings, and they literally are a walking toddler of mistakes, no matter how old they are, or no matter, the more that a person thinks that they don't make mistakes, the more mistakes that they're really making and aren't acknowledging. So failure follows them pretty closely, and they won't let you understand any of that stuff. So here we're going to start talking about fenbendazole, and we're going to talk about ivermectin for a little bit. How to take the ivermectin and fenbendazole, do it your way. This is my way. I also use yogurt. I take for 3 weeks, then take a binder for a week. All of my animals get this medication too. If you have cats and dogs and they are in your house, lick your face, or do you eat pork? If so, you have parasites. Symptoms consist of headaches, psoriasis, acne, joint pain, UTIs, bloating after meals, seizures, yeast infections, cold, flu, snotty nose, rosacea. I used this to cure my skin cancer on my nose, and I couldn't heal this summer and facial dermatitis. I tried all kinds of dermatology creams. I had psoriasis on my knees and elbows for years. Not anymore. And for the last 4 years, suffered severe seizures, and I no longer have that. Got worse with the COVID-19 vaccine. This is a choice, and it's my choice. You do not have to agree with me. This stuff is non-toxic. No side effect. No matter what these people tell you. Down the hatch. No doctor needed. In this testimony, remember when the media laughed and said that ivermectin was only for horses and cows? They knew it was made for people in 1987. Q said, oh, why does cure? What if cures actually existed? Oh, interesting. Here's what they didn't tell you. 1, it prevents the damage caused by drugs created using mRNA technology. Oh, interesting. No wonder it might it blocks the entry of spike proteins into the cell. And if the person was vaccinated, they could treat themselves for damage already done through ivermectin. 2, it only has beneficial effects and no harmful effects in the treatment of the COVID virus. In fact, even before entering the cell, it has already destroyed the virus in your blood. 3, it is a very powerful and anti-inflammatory action against and has a powerful impact on traumatic and orthopedic injuries, strengthens muscles, and has no side effects like whatever that word is. I'm not even going to try that. You can See, I'm not a doctor. Whatever the hell that is, you figure it out. Number 4, it treats autoimmune ailments such as rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing, whatever that is, fibromyalgia, psoriasis, Crohn's disease, and allergic rhinitis. 5, it improves the immunity levels in cancer patients and treats herpes simplex and herpes zoster, plus reduces frequency of sinusitis and diverticulitis. Yeah, I'll do that. 6, it protects the heart in cardiac overload. In an embolism, for example, it prevents cardiac hypoxia because it stimulates the production of basic energy so that the tissue is not destroyed, and thus it improves cardiac function. 7, it's an anti-parasitic, an anti-neoplastic, anti-cancer, allegedly suppresses the proliferation and the metastasis of cancer cells. I've seen this happen in people already. Preserving healthy cells and improving the effectiveness of chemotherapy treatment. And that is true. There is research out there now that shows that mixed with chemotherapy, that this actually does help reduce the detrimental effects of chemotherapy. I'm no fan of chemotherapy, but I'll tell you that is true. It can kill cancer cells resistant to chemotherapy and defeating the resistance and multiple. In other words, it's kind of working in tandem with it. Tumors develop and combine with the chemotherapy and the anti-cancer agents. It provides an increase in the effectiveness of these treatments. All of these links, guys, to these videos and stuff that I'm showing you are in the description. You have access to this information. One click, it's a link. You have it. You can read it. You can dissect it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can share it. You can bookmark it now on X so that you can come back to it later. That is, by the way, something I want to remind you about. This little right here, the little blue, or I think it's sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's orange. That's that bookmarks it and gives you a ability to have like what you would think of as your favorites on your PC. It kills cancer cells resistant to chemotherapy. It's an antimicrobial, bacterial, and virus, and increases immunity. It reaches the central nervous system and regenerates the nerves. Joke. It helps. So remember, they tell you that none of these things are possible. Then how can this simple, inexpensive thing that they attacked that's for just your dogs and cats or whatever, how can it be effective? It helps to regulate glucose, insulin metabolism, cholesterol levels, and reduce your liver fat in ketosis, whatever. It can be used as a prophylactic agent and has been associated with a significant reduction in infection, hospitalization, and mortality rates due to COVID-19. Fenbendazole is not a dog dewormer.
Fenbendazole is not a dog dewormer. That's what we're told. It's a dog dewormer. It's not a dog dewormer. It's far more than that. That would be like saying water is for watering lawn. Well, it's also necessary for every biochemical reaction on Earth. It's necessary for life to exist. It's necessary for photosynthesis to take place. It's necessary to keep the Earth warm. It's necessary for weather. Like fenbendazole. What does fenbendazole primarily do is it blocks, it binds to the B tubulin, which is kind of like these little protein structures like skeletons inside a parasite. So they can't move, they can't eat and all that. It also blocks their ability to use glucose and they die. But it's not just worms. Yeah, it's a dog dewormer, but it also works for cattle, for for sheep, for elephants, for raccoons, for lions, for cougars, for gazelle, for deer, for bears. Did I say raccoons? Elephants? And not just worms. It
Mammals!
Gets cestodes. It gets
You're a
nematodes,
mammal!
It gets flukes. But it also gets protozoa, like Giardia, which is not a worm, but it's a single-celled organism that can be a parasite. So that's what it does. But it also seems to work in other ways. They said that fenbendazole is not really approved for human use, whereas mebendazole and albendazole, its cousins, are approved for humans, and fenbendazole is approved for animals. Why? Because they do research with fenbendazole in animals, but not with humans. And they do research with albendazole and mebendazole with humans and not with animals. So that's why. Then comes along Joe Tippins in 2016. Small cell lung cancer, went to MD Anderson, did everything he was supposed to do, got the chemotherapy, etc., and it did what we expected to do, and that is it caused incredible metastasis. He wound up with, I think, 92 tumors, far more than they could manage, and they told him, Joe, it's time to go home, call hospice, and get ready to say your final goodbye. He went home, had a friend who is a large animal vet, and said, Joe, whenever we're treating an animal for worms and it has cancer goes. So Joe said, I'm going to try that. He tried it. Within 3 months, his scans were clean. And to this day, his scans are clean. So he kind of proved that it works with humans as well, right? What does it do with cancer? How does it work? Well, as we said, it binds to the microtubule, right? Which is very similar to the certain chemotherapies called as taxanes, like Taxol and Taxotere, those kinds of things. What are also called zinc alkaloids, binding to the microtubules. That's what it does. But in addition to that, by binding to the tubules, what does it do? It prevents mitosis, which means that the cells can't divide, they can't proliferate, they can't grow. And it also leads to apoptosis, which allows it to commit suicide. It does both, right? Now, it also causes the cells to get arrested, what they call G2, can't continue to go. It upregulates P53, which is the major tumor suppressor gene that we have that gets downregulated with cancer. It upregulates it, brings it back into being, okay? And then that leads to apoptosis, and the cells will commit suicide, recycle themselves. It also does the same thing with the P53 and the P21, which is another tumor suppressor. So it upregulates that. It is very similar to metformin in terms of glucose control, lowering glucose, lowering fasting insulins, and things like that. But the other amazing thing it does with in terms of energy metabolism is it inhibits an enzyme called hexokinase 2. Hexokinase 2 is kind of the final rate limiting step that phosphorylates glucose when it enters the cell. So now it's going to go down the pathway of fermentation. It's going to ferment, all right? Kind of it. So, and that's upregulated in all kinds of cancers, right? It's upregulated tremendously because it wants to increase glucose uptake. Well, the fenbendazole suppresses that. What else does it do? It also helps the immune system recognize tumors and that's pretty incredible. Now, the other thing, I don't know if you've heard of tumor-associated macrophages, but our white blood cells called macrophages, when they get into the tumor microenvironment, start working for the tumor. They go into what's called the M2 state, and they become tumor-associated macrophages. This reverses that. That's why Joe's still alive. So, dog dewormer.
Dog dewormer. Oh, it's a dog dewormer. Oh, it's a psychological operation to make you not want to try something new. Oh my goodness. Imagine that. How could we be so stupid? Thank you so much. Trust 1961. Thank you, Shady, for everything. Greatly appreciated. I greatly appreciate you. We are here because of your support. Bonster, thank you so much. Sean, thank you. You guys appreciate everybody out there, and what we're all doing here is we're really just trying, this is not just necessarily relevant to you. Some of this information could be relevant to a family member. It could be, all of us are dealing with our older generation, and they're a mess because they've eaten terrible food their whole life, and they don't understand anything about what's going on with themselves, and they keep relying on the information from the guy in the freaking white coat, and that's not good. And here we're going to blaze through a couple of these things here real quick. A topical ivermectin will completely heal skin cancer. Lesions will change, get smaller, and fall off completely. It's not going to hurt you to try. You can get this stuff at the Feed and Seed. You can literally use it for any inflammatory autoimmune skin condition. It comes as a 1% prescribed cream or buy over the counter. It's a lot easier to get now, by the way, 1.87% horse paste. And a matter of fact, that's even a, I've got experience with people using much more higher concentrations than this, having amazing success. So very interesting. Ivermectin is an anti-parasitic with anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-tumor effects. Topical ivermectin has fantastic applications in the dermatology world because it heals the skin, the microbiome of parasites, bacteria, toxins, and pathogens. In other words, it kills the little critters on the surface, and then they don't keep chewing on you. While healing the gut microbiome is paramount from within by using nutrition to detoxify and heal deficiencies, topical ivermectin cream works to heal stubborn epidemic and dermis layers of the skin that may not respond to internal healing completely. Topical ivermectin has shown to be effective at healing the following skin conditions: basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, melanoma, cystic acne, ringworm, scabies, demodex skin mites, perioral dermatitis, whatever the hell that is, hookworm, lice, moles, warts, skin tags, ringworm, candida, athlete's foot, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis. How to use: apply a pea-sized or pencil eraser-sized amount twice a day onto the area of concern.
Approved for the treatment of rosacea. A lot of people don't know that, but ivermectin cream is actually FDA approved. Your dermatologist can prescribe it. Now, of course, the doctors hesitate to prescribe it, but it's a 1% ivermectin cream. You could treat rosacea. The ivermectin horse paste is actually 1.87%, so it's stronger. It's almost twice as strong. You can literally use it for any inflammatory or autoimmune skin condition. It'll treat cystic acne, which is the worst possible acne you can have, and it'll clear it completely. It'll clear eczema. Like I said, in many cases, it will clear psoriasis. But most impressive of all, it will clear skin cancers. And I now have tons of testimonials from patients who had either basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, melanoma. They started applying the horse paste twice a day. Within a couple of weeks, you see the lesion, the skin lesions start changing. You can see it. Just after a couple of weeks of application, the lesion starts changing. It starts getting smaller. And after a month or two, it may fall off completely and it's gone. You can treat any skin cancer with ivermectin paste, the horse paste, the $8, $9 horse paste that, you get at whatever, veterinary supply.
See in the PSYOP yet? This is also in, for the people out there that need the, to understand like where we're at as far as medical research. The world's first peer-reviewed protocol using ivermectin, fenbendazole, and fenbendazole for cancer has been published. This could change the future of oncology forever. Why? Because there's cures that we knew that were there before they started introducing all this crap into our society and into our diet. And Q explained and understood that there were cures before. These medications play a fundamental role in cancer treatment. Thousands of cancer patients have already used high doses of ivermectin, menben, and fenben with successful results. This also link is in the description for you guys below. The shocking truth about your gut that they tried to bury: gut health isn't just important, it's the foundation of your immunity, brain, and survival. And modern life is systematically destroying it. In Senate testimony, Dr. Sabine Hazan dropped a bombshell from her research. Severe COVID patients had near zero bifidobacteria, whatever that is. People with autism, Alzheimer's, Crohn's, Lyme, IBS, mental health disorders, and invasive cancer, same thing. They all lack this critical gut bacteria. The gut bacteria is taken away. So if you have ever taken, I'm going to come back over here and talk to you guys. If you've ever taken a antibiotic, okay? So way back whenever I was a kid, if they were to prescribe you an antibiotic for 70 years, medical practice was if they prescribed you an antibiotic, you would then later, after that antibiotic was prescribed, be prescribed a probiotic. And they would recommend you drink stuff like, what's it called with the milk? I'm going to forget. I can't remember. It starts with an A, I think. What is it? No, it was something else. It starts with an A. I can't think of the name of the milk. It's like some different kind of acidophilus. That's it. Acidophilus milk. They'd recommend that you take acidophilus milk as a probiotic and also to introduce a probiotic to you, because what the antibiotic does is when you take an antibiotic, it gets rid of the infection, but it also gets rid of all the good gut flora inside your intestines. And so they would, before, if you were bad enough to take an antibiotic, they would make sure that you took a probiotic so you start to reestablish that gut flora after. They're not doing that anymore. So they're forcing you to take an antibiotic. So if you've ever taken an antibiotic and you didn't immediately take a probiotic after to counter that, then you have destroyed your gut biome and you've left yourself vulnerable to conditions like Alzheimer's, IBS, mental health disorders, and invasive cancer. Even worse, only about 25% of newborns have a sufficient level of these protective microbes, and the rest are born already depleted, setting the stage for lifelong diseases and what destroys this bifidobacteria. mRNA vaccines are shown to sharply slash levels after award-winning data presented 18,000 gastroenterologists. Other modern factors, antibiotics, C-sections, stress, and vitamin toxins pile on the damage. The good news they don't want you hearing: vitamin C, bovine immunoglobulins, and ivermectin, a fermented product from Stereomyces bacteria, can help restore that bacteria. When a hypothesis is retracted, we've lost science and medicine. Follow the disappearance of the bifidobacteria and you start to understand why disease, especially cancer and neurological conditions, are exploding.
We discovered that severe COVID patients lacked bifidobacteria, while patients that were high risk exposed had a lot of bifidobacteria. We also discovered that people with autism, Alzheimer's, Crohn's disease, Lyme disease, irritable bowel syndrome, mental health, invasive cancer lack bifidobacteria. Bifidobacteria appears in the young at a high level and disappears as we get older. We found that vitamin C, bovine immunoglobulin, and ivermectin, a fermented product of a bacteria called Streptomyces, could help increase bifidobacteria and restore. Is that why we were seeing possibly hypoxic patients improving? I wrote a hypothesis. Perhaps ivermectin was improving the bifidobacteria. That hypothesis was published and retracted in 2023. When a hypothesis is retracted, we've lost science and medicine. We then presented data on the vaccines, and we discovered that the vaccines killed the microbiome, specifically the bifidobacteria. That abstract won the Best Research Award at the American College of Gastro and reached 18,000 GI doctors, yet was never published. If you follow the disappearance of bifidobacteria in the gut, you start to understand disease. You start to see why the newborns, 1 in 12 kids in California, 12 boys in California has autism. If you look at the data that just came out that showed newborns, only 25% of newborns are born with adequate levels of bifidobacteria. So if you restore the bifidobacteria like we did in our lab in kids with autism, you will actually resume speech, which is what we showed in 2 trials where we restored the bifidobacteria. That abstract won a research award at the American College of Gastro. In fact, Progenobiome has earned 4 consecutive awards at the American College of Gastro, affirming peer recognition of our work. Yet promising observations face problems and persistent barriers when attempting to publish in papers. Pass rigorous review or retracted over minor, easily correctable issue. The main non-medical scientist that criticized my papers has patent on the microbiome. Can you say conflict of interest?
Wow. I mean, it's really amazing. It's really amazing what has happened. And I want to point back and bring you guys back to the, to what we were talking about earlier, and like the post. So the post that Q made led into everything that I've sort of presented to you tonight, that you've seen sort of move through the idea of what if cures actually existed. And the reality of the situation is that the cures existed before the diseases. That's the conspiracy. It's clear as daylight if you're willing to look with an open mind and see it. Thank you so much. From a Reality Popper, I've lost too many friends who either refused or waited too late to try ivermectin or fenbendazole. It's absolutely frustrating, and I was willing to even pay for it. You see, God bless you. That's who you are. That's who you guys are. I tried so hard with my mom. I wanted so much for her to see and understand there's so much stuff going on. We can know, we can share, we can invite, we can interject, we can say with vigor and force and confidence. None of it gets through because they got the white coat on. They walk around in the white coat. And the white coat is their God. And I'm sorry, I tried to get, I wished that my mom would find a little bit different of a spiritual aspect to this world. I tried to get her to see what love there is for her to respect, honor, and take care of herself, to decide that she was worth it. At the core of the problem is a person that doesn't think they're worth the treatment. At the core of the problem is a person that thinks that it's too much thinking. At the core of the problem, it's a person that thinks that they are not valuable enough to take care of themselves. That's why I started this conversation out with really pleading to your inner peace to say, learn how important you are. America is an individual sport. You will hear me say this so many times, you'd want to break the television screen, because I want to say it and I want to make sure it's understood. America is an individual sport. You are the individual. You are the only one that can take care of you. And you've been given an environment inside the country of America that has all of the bells and whistles of everything that you would ever need to take care of yourself. But we have a gatekeeper, and he wears a white coat. And he stands at the door and he says, no, you can't try. And he says, no, it won't work. And he says, no, you're listening to the conspiracy theorists. Meanwhile, people that continue on forward past the gatekeeper find value in their life again. And then everybody's going to rush into the conversation to say that, oh, you're just fighting a phantom. You're just trying to generate fear of the establishment. You're just trying to take away people's belief in vaccinations or belief in a medical structure that takes care of them. How can consuming synthetic petroleum ever be the answer? That's my question. That's the cathartic question of this whole show. How can your consumption of synthetic petroleum be an answer to any problem? I contend that it isn't, that it can't be, that it won't be, and that it hasn't been, and that the whole establishment is turned on its ear and turned on its side simply because of that. Simply because of that. When Q said, we the people are the cure, it meant across the board, in my opinion. It meant that we, the people, need to do something like we need to establish an order of where if you are going to go to a college and you are going to take 10 years of medical school, then you need to have something else in your tool belt other than one 45-minute class on nutrition from a 10-year study. You need to have some sort of adherence to the idea that a person consuming nothing but Twinkies 24/7 and drinking Mountain Dew and they don't eat anything else, that might be a health concern. If the person just doesn't do anything but go to McDonald's and Burger King every single day and that's all that they eat, that might be a health concern. Just the idea that you're doing it, regardless of whatever ramifications might one day come from such detrimental care that you are taking of yourself. I'm very passionate about these things, and I'm very concerned about these things because I feel like that they're informative pieces of or tidbits of information that can functionally push America through and out of this knothole that we're crammed up into, where everything has to go through this certain little filter before anybody else can get any information. That's absolute insanity. I want to real quick, we're getting ready to wrap up here. Let's see, where am I at? How am I got a minute or two. I think I got like a couple of minutes. I want to play a couple of minutes of RFK talking to you. Oh wait, is it how far? Oh yeah,
school lunch is very soon. Robert has been.
I don't think I got the link for this in the description. So I'm going to grab the link. I'm going to drop the link specifically to this to you guys. We're just going to watch a minute or two of it, but I just want you to understand that what's happening right now is the White House is putting the White House, the Trump administration, whatever you think about them. Oh my God. They're actually giving you access to information. And that's why the establishment is mad. The establishment is mad because they want you sick, on death's door before you even get started in life. They really want you sick and at death's door. And if you take care of yourself and if you eat good, and if you think about it outside of the box and you look into alternative things and other people's experiences, this is very crucial. What I'd like for you to do, if you have something going on with you, instead of researching the internet about things that are going on with you, utilize artificial intelligence and research the internet for other people that have similar things going on with them that have fixed their problems with alternative methods. That information is literally like everywhere, but it's only artificial intelligence is only as good as your question. Okay. Interestingly enough, with Q came to ask all these questions. Artificial intelligence is only as good as your best question. And even though you ask it good questions, it's sometimes going to tell you the wrong answer. So you have to push in on it further to get the real answer. That's your job. It's not going to be handed to you. Life doesn't work like it works in the movies and on TV, where all the right things just seem to happen right there and you don't really have anything to do with it. You got to plug in. You got to participate, and you got to make better decisions in your life. We're just going to watch a minute or two of this, and then we're getting ready to run out of here.
The school lunch is very soon. Robert has been an extraordinary partner to me in the MAHA movement. I'm grateful for his efforts to help Americans rediscover the power of cooking real food. Today, we're taking another step to make America healthy again with the launch of the Real Food Show, new series that makes healthy, affordable cooking simple and accessible for every American. This is not just another cooking show. It's about helping Americans take back their health. Over the past 18 months under President Trump's leadership, we've fundamentally changed the federal government's approach to nutrition. Together with Secretary Brooke Rollins, we released the new dietary guidelines with one simple message: eat real food. We're removing petroleum-based dyes from our food supply. We are reforming the GRAS standards so that Americans know what chemicals are in their foods. We have 10,000 chemical ingredients in our foods. The Europeans only have 400. We're bringing nutrition back into medical education. We're making hospital food healthier. We're reforming SNAP by working with states to stop taxpayer
right dollars. There. That's the piece I wanted you to hear.
Are reforming the GRAS standards so that Americans know what chemicals are in their foods. We have 10,000 chemical ingredients in our foods. The Europeans only have 400. We're bringing nutrition back into medical education. We're making hospital food healthier. We're reforming SNAP by working with states to stop taxpayer dollars from going to candy, to soda drinks, and to ultra-processed food.
Did Q warn you? Did Epstein and Bannon warn you? I say tongue-in-cheek. It's a conspiracy. Enough is enough. Agent Miami, thank you so much. This is such an important subject, Shady. Thank you so much for this wonderful life-saving information. God gave us everything that we need. God bless you. God bless you. God bless all of you. This has been an amazing experience. God bless Jeff for me here. Thank you for supporting what we're doing here. Thank you for your contributions. All of your contributions here go to support our project here at MG Show and what it is that we've been building here. We've built an army of called a band of anons. That is you, that is me, that is all of us, the wonderful usses. We're in this together, and whenever we say where we go, when we go all, we don't mean that we are going to follow them. What we mean is that they are going to follow us, and they do not have a lot of choice in the matter. Thank you so much. If you have any questions regarding any of this stuff, don't hesitate to ask me. And as a matter of fact, we're going to, before we wrap up, we got a little song for you coming in. Mikey Mariano, new hit debuting tonight for the first time. We're going to be playing this on the Q Lounge Live, and I'll be right back after this to wrap up.
Spitting raw, no filter. Matrix shady in the game, truth's the real thriller. 12 noon until 2 is the daily grind. Dropping red pills for the open mind. Two dudes delivering news, no fake or fact. Mega Trump in the cut, bringing power back. MG Show on the mic, breaking down the code. Q Lounge Live, where the secrets unload. Shady groove and the matrix, spinning in the sound. East Coast, West Coast, truth coming around. Shady groove and the matrix, feel the vibe unfold. Truth learned, never told. Breaking the mold. Matrix shady shadow moves in the night. They cut the code in the system, bringing dark to light. Clock ticks, are we live? Are we live? The guys on the scene watch the news revive. Matrix slam voices right, leading the fight. Shady groove in the mix, keeping it tight. MG Show, we expose, no cap, no lie. Q Lounge Live, where the patriots fly. Truth bombs turning the page.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. What an anthem, guys, right? Man, so good, brother. You can catch that tune in the rotation on MG Radio. That's app.mg.show. Get over there. You can talk to great patriots on there. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Q Lounge Live Season 5 is back. This is episode 7. I'd like to tell all of you to feel free, please, to post in the comments if you have something to say. We'd love to hear from you. You are the elite. We are here to spread the notion that we're here to spread the notion that the idea that they are the elite is a lie. You are the elite. You are the American people. You are the ones that were given freedom. You're the ones that stand up for your freedom. You're the ones that tell everybody else what it is that's going on. Not them telling you. The American people are the ones that are leading. Donald Trump is here to lead us. Thank you, each and every one of you. God bless you. We will be back. We will be live tomorrow at 12 Eastern. We have a great show for you. We have John Nance and Chris Hinkle both appearing with us tomorrow. We're excited to talk to those guys. Thank you again to our producer here. Thank you to In the Matrix and all of the donations out there. So grateful to you. I think, there's another one here. Lost too many friends with either refused or waited too late to try ivermectin or fenbendazole. It's absolutely frustrating, and I was willing to pay for it. I think I read that one, but thank you guys so much. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you next week right here on the Q Lounge Live.
When I pull up out front, you see the Benz on dubs. When I roll 20 deep, so it's